In our previous video, we talked about XMLHttpRequest and we tried to make our first request to this URL by using the method that is present on XHR object, that is open. Open accepts two parameters, the type of method, something like get, post, put or delete, and then we need the URL. After doing that, you go ahead, add the callbacks to specific keys of XHR, that is like onload, onerror, and at last you send them. And that is why we were able to get the information Dan Abramov from this URL into our application. Now you must be thinking, can we only add onload or we can add other things also? So we'll go ahead, take a look at XHR object, and you can go through all these keys and you can add callbacks to all of these keys. Like on abort, what does it mean is whenever the network request get aborted, then this function will be called. Here it is on error. So whenever there is any kind of error like network request or something, this one will be called. So once you read through all of it, you'll get to understand when what will be called. So not only onload, you can also add other things. Say for example, what if I want to add onloadstart? So I want to say onloadstart, go ahead, log a message, data loading started. So we added a callback function to onloadstart and we are logging the message data loading started. We can also add it to onloadend and onloadprogress. So let's do that also. And here we can say data loading ... You can also add for onerror. So let's go ahead, add the last one, that is onerror. And here we'll write something went wrong. You can play around with other methods also, but here we have added 5 of them: onload, onloadstart, onloadend, onloadprogress, and onerror. Now let's go ahead, refresh this page. So here, now when we refresh this page, we can see that we get the first message, that is data loading started, that is coming from onloadstart, and the next is Dan Abramov, that is coming from onload. Similarly, going forward, we have data loading ended. It means it is coming from onloadend. So you can see at different phases, different functions is called, and what you can use them in certain ways. But let's try to make onerror get called. So for that, what I'm going to do, we'll go into network tab and make the browser offline. So we'll click on this and we'll make it offline. Now I'll come back to console. So right now this is what it is showing. But what if we refresh this page? We have made this browser offline for now, so it will not be able to make the request. So let's refresh it. So we refresh it, what do we see? We can see the first message, that is data loading started. Then we are seeing something went wrong, and it is coming from where? It is coming from onerror. And at last we are getting this message, data loading ended. Now what is happening is onloadstart is getting called, and after that onerror is getting called, and at last onload is getting called. So in this way we can understand there are multiple callback functions we can add inside XHR object, and that gets executed in certain situations. So whenever you're loading the data, it will start with onloadstart, going on to onload and onloadend. So in this way we learned about XHR and how we can configure them in such a way that we can take control of how data loading or any kind of error is happening. In our next video, we are going to use XHR to make requests and make a UI based on that.